Welcome back, and we are going to move on into doing our sleeve manipulation and pattern development for the puff sleeve. This is on page 310 of your textbook. There's three different versions where we have the fullness at the hem of the sleeve, the fullness at the cap of the sleeve, or the added fullness, equal added fullness at both the top and the bottom of the sleeve, widening it and making it a puff sleeve. So to set that up, we already developed our dartless sleeve sloper. If you have not, go back to the first video in this lesson and make sure you do so. I'm still in the same file that I had been doing this work in. That way each artboard will show a version of my sleeve, and then I have my sloper to come right back to if I need to. So I have opened up my layers or artboard panel, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the current sleeve, the dartless sleeve sloper. But now I'm going to make this my puff sleeve. I can do that on my artboard, as well as I am going to modify the type up here on the artboard so I can remember which one I am doing. All right, the directions for design 3 of our different puff sleeve styles will actually jump you over to page 312. Now, the directions are actually only using the this half of the sleeve. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate though with the full sleeve. They are just showing you that if you use this half, you would be able to keep it on a folded edge of the paper, develop it, then open up the paper. But in Illustrator, it's so easy for us to be able to work with both halves since we don't have as much cutting and taping to do. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So it will have us start with our dartless sleeve. We are going to actually go ahead and shorten it. So let's zoom in here. The earlier ones had the sides here at about 2 inches, and since we're not, we'll go ahead and do it a little bit more than just the 2 inches. We need to add a point though from under at the bicep line, go down the back edge of the pattern down to the guideline or grid line here. I went 2 full inches and whatever that partial inch was. So partial inch, 1, 2 full inches, and my line there. Now I want to go ahead and cut these lines or points there and there, and it is the lower half that I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. Same with the guideline down here. I do not need those. And these guidelines here in a little bit, I will probably not worry about them. Get my pen tool to now then close this shape again as the shorter sleeve. There we go. So that's what we'll be working with. Now, I'm going to go over to my layers panel and create a new layer. It did put it on top of layer 1, which is where my sleeve patterns are. I'm going to drag layer 2 underneath, and I'm going to double click on it to name that one my guidelines so that I can draw indicators to help with that. And the selection tool. So I'm going to go ahead and select my sleeve, and I need to move it down a little bit on my paper because I need some space up here at the top. There we go. All right, and here we are. Checking back onto our pattern. Here we need to set up some guidelines, give us 2-inch space at the top and 2-inch space at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead right now and lock my layer 1 just so that I'm on guidelines. And I want to give myself a segment line, and tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and make these a different color. So my segment line up here, I will click, hold, and drag. I'm going to use my Alt key to kind of drag out from the center out. Click away. There we have that. And I want another line lined up with the guideline there of my center of the pattern. And I'm going to go ahead and extend it down a little bit as a guideline. And then one last one is another horizontal one that does need to be 2 inches below the hem of the sleeve. So back to my segment line. So this is, there's 1, 2. I'm using my grid lines to find that distance. Now, I just need those as indicators. I'm not worried if it's centered over that or anything right now. And I'm going to zoom back out just a hair. All right. Now, next thing we need to do, we will be needing a guideline at the bottom of our hem as well. So I am going to go ahead and click here and drag using my Alt key to drag from center out. And I'm going to go ahead and extend it pretty far. I can use my Shift key to constrain it, make sure it stays parallel or horizontal. All right. Now, back to the pattern side. Here, pattern layer. I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to select this pattern, and I need to add some points up here at the top and the bottom so I can cut it and spread it to the left and to the right. So here is my adding anchor point. There is one, and right down here is one. And I'm going to cut these, cut and cut. There we go. Now, for this side, we need to decide how much we want to spread this. We could do 2 times the width, so whatever the width is here at the hem, we could increase it twice that. Or we could just do half of that amount. I think I will just do that, and we're going to go ahead and move these over about 3 inches. So again, let's zoom in, select the sleeve, and this back half I am click and dragging so that I also collect my notch marks, that they move with this. And then I'm going to kind of watch my grid line here, grids, to get this to move over about 3 inches. I can use my keyboard arrows to do that and hold down my Shift key. It'll jump it much further, faster. And that's pretty good. I think that's a good distance there. This line I do not need anymore. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the front part. Click and drag. All I have to do is actually touch anywhere along that path to collect that path with my selection tool, but I also made sure that my selection included my notch as well, so it moves with me. Now if I had been counting how many taps of my arrow that I did would really help. So 1, 2, I'd say that's probably pretty good there. All right, let me zoom out just a little because we need to see our guidelines at the top and bottom. All right. One more place that we are going to need to fix these. So we want the height to kind of come up to here, and then the lower edge is going to kind of get another new shape. You'll need to look at your book. It's done in red or blue lines just so you can kind of get an idea. But here, let's break this at this bottom point for the bottom edge, and same thing on the front. We will break that point and get rid of that bottom edge. So this will be an interesting one to practice with. Trying to kind of recreate that those lines. I'm going to pick up my pen tool and reconnect here. And I'm going to click and kind of drag down towards this area, not all the way, but just a little bit. And then I'm going to come down to here for my second point, click, hold, and drag, holding my shift key out just to kind of constrain that a little bit. And over here, clicking and dragging just to sort of shape that line so that it looks the same on both sides. If I was not really sure and wanted to make sure that this line here was the exact same, I could direct select that line, these 2 points. There we go. And I could do that reflection of it. Double click for reflect and make a copy of that line and move that over. Interesting, it did give me an extra little line there, but we'll be able to get rid of that. And I'm bringing it on over. So that line, if I'm using my direct select on that line, getting rid of that point. Now then, this line and that one right in here. All right, I need to collect these 2 points by clicking and dragging around them with my direct select tool. I need to average them first, bringing both points to the exact same space, and then after I've averaged them, I can join them. But they are considered 2 open-end points. They are. I don't know why we get that. We'll see if that has a problem with our seam allowance here in a moment. So now we need to bring this point up to the top as well as kind of redraw that shape. Same thing here, close to the top and kind of redrawing its shape as well. Moving into these areas. Without much disruption, I'm going to go ahead and use my keyboard arrows to nudge my notches back in place so that they're generally in the same area. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that guideline and moving on up here. Let's see if we can join these 2 points. Select path, average both of them, put them in the same place, click OK for both, and then path join. That time it joined for me. I'm not sure why these didn't. I would really like to get it to join. So I'm separating them a little bit, and here's another set of points I need to average and join. Keyboard shortcut for average is Alt-Option key, Command, and J, or if you're on a PC, it would be Alt-Control-J. So we're going to do both of those, and then Command J or Control J joined those. Those are together. All right, let's see if we can get these to join. They do not want to join for some reason. Let's see if it will allow us to put our seam allowance around it without interruption. Remember, click on your pattern once you have the shape done, and we can go to path and offset path. by 1/2 inch. That would be 0.5. And this one did it around the inside and outside, but I can, let's see, that's a compound path. We're going to release that. So if you ever get that, and the reason it did that is because these points are not connected down here, so it offset on both sides of that path line because it assumed it was an open path, which it is. So under compound path, release it, and then that should allow you to get rid of the inside one. The middle line is the one that will be our stitch line, and we remember our notches were close to that edge. And we can do that and leaves the outside one. The outside, once we click it, we can give it a solid fill. There we go. And this guideline right here, remember it extended way down past our pattern, but we can click on the single point at the bottom of it and drag it in place to move up. We can darken it and give it some arrowheads for our grain line. Okay. And give us a text. Puff sleeve, size 8, and then your name. If you can spell my name right. There we go. All right, that is your puff sleeve. Other videos will take you into doing the manipulations for the other sleeves. Eventually you'll have them all on one pattern or in one file that you will save and upload for the assignment. So keep going. Each new sleeve, go back to this artboard. Go to your artboards, make sure instead of being on the puff sleeve, go back to the dartless sloper so that if you duplicate that one, it will duplicate what's on that artboard, not the artboard that you did the manipulation. That way you're set up for your next sleeve. The next video will pick up on that one, which is a flared sleeve.